Stay strong. Love arm wrestling.
It's kind of weird not to see a beer in your arm.
I had one. I had one down at the beach, but I've been eating so much. It was painful at drinking. I mean, because it's bigger than American.
Okay.
I drink. Evidently, you can't walk around, so I walked down to the beach and drank it. And I said, "Oh man, I wish I wouldn't have done that." But I've only saw one store so far that sold alcohol.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah, it's a weird one here.
Yeah.
So how do you feel?
I feel good. You know, I'm tired and eating too much, but that's on purpose.
Yeah. So sleeping good?
Oh yeah, I haven't had any problem sleeping so far.
Yeah. Physically?
Physically, I feel good.
Mentally?
Mentally, I was prepared for this a while ago. So.
Okay. So you weighed in how much?
96.5 or 96.6 kilos.
And that's your walk-around weight, or?
No. It took
down?
me, my walk-around weight's more like 100 kilos.
100 kilos. Not that much. Not that much. Like 6,
No.
7, 8 pounds.
Yeah, not like WAL where it was 20 pounds.
20 pounds. Okay. So, how much time did you have really to prepare for this one? Mentally you were ready, but physically?
Well, I've been preparing for WAL super heavyweight for years now. I think I had 6 weeks. I think from the time I accepted the match till today I think I had 6 weeks total.
Okay.
But I think he only had 6 weeks as well. I don't know if he had much more time than I did.
Did you change something specific for?
Changed everything.
Changed everything?
Changed everything. Cut. I went from like 11 workouts a week down to 7. Stopped a whole bunch of stuff I was doing to prepare to pull somebody like Jerry Khadzimurat or Devin or somebody, which is going to be a full-on top roll match, and tried to switch back to
more
what I
control,
anticipated
inside
this
control.
is. Yeah. Because I didn't think I would ever be twisted up at the center of the table with anybody in the WAL. I'm always chasing those tall hands, or I'm always working on the very, in the WAL with those tall people, we're always pulling at the very outside edges of the table. Every time I pulled with Hadzi, we're always on the front edges of the elbow pad.
So those things change, and did you have like someone specific you work with, or was just mostly weights?
Just weights. I only practice on the table 2 or 3 times a year now.
Oh.
Because it's always super matches.
The last time we saw you was with Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was to train Michael. That wasn't to train me. Yeah, when I get like the WL gives me 3 or 4 months, so I know who the opponent is. I'll train for a month or 2, and then I'll go to Maryland. I got a friend of mine, Dave Morocco, who lives in Maryland. He'll pull together a big practice, like 60 people, and I can go there and train just for my one super match. But there wasn't time, for this to do that.
So to conserve energy, basically, just hit the weights and everything else.
Yeah.
And you've been lifting for years, so you know where your peak form is.
Yep.
How do you feel? Like where is this? Where is this?
I typically raise a PR by a couple of pounds every week. I try for 2 PRs a week, and about 90% of the time I'll hit a new PR. If I miss a PR, I won't worry too much about it. But if I miss 3 or 4 PRs in a row, so for like 2 weeks, then I sit back, adjust something. Usually I have to add a lot of volume to something that's just lacking.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I had to start training shoulders a lot more. It turns out my shoulders were holding me back. They were giving me little aches and pains, and the PRs limited out. So I started training shoulders once or twice a week. Got back on track, and it's, to me, setting a PR, if it's 100 pounds, 1.5 pounds on top of 100 is a PR. It's not like 10 pounds. So it's, as long as you're steadily
increasing.
If it's 1 or 2% a week, there's 52 weeks in a year. 1% adds up.
Yeah. So you still basically did PR in preparation for this, from everything you've been doing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, my basic routine hasn't really changed in 20. Once I found the West Side Barbell, that's the core of the workout's still the same: speed day, max day, volume day. What changes is whether I'm focusing on back or chest or legs on the off days, and whether I'm doing a lot of volume or a lot of heavy work on the other, on the non-arm wrestling workouts.
So how many, like you said, 7 workouts?
I'm doing 7 a week now.
Yeah, and you used to do like 2 in a day.
Yeah, I would.
4 days.
I've always done between 10 and 14 a week.
Yeah.
But with trying to cut weight and then trying to get stronger inside, the 10 I was just too tired. You know, I'd go to do the evening workout and I'd have to drink coffee and I couldn't hardly get through it, so I just stopped the evening workouts and focused on the. So basically, for the last 6 weeks, I stopped training shoulders, abs, lower back. I cut out a leg day, and I still do the JM presses twice a week, and I still do my back twice a week. But legs, deadlift, a lot of that other stuff got
And
shut down.
everything else is specific for arm wrestling.
Yeah. 3 days a week is arm wrestling specific stuff.
Okay. So there's like a lot of time from your first meeting, second meeting. I don't know how many times you pulled. 3 times. There's a lot of time passed. I mean,
Years in between.
Yeah, and he's a different animal now.
He's a scary one, isn't he?
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like you've been following him for sure. You know, his
to be
ups
honest,
and downs.
once I started in WIL, I didn't think I was ever coming overseas again.
No.
You know, I just figured I figured I was going to be in the WL for 3 or 4 until I retired. You know, but this COVID messed everything up. You know, I really thought I was just going to arm wrestle I thought I'd arm wrestle 2 or 3 times a year in the WAL, and that would be it. And I was pretty comfortable with that because it would start in April, it would end in September or October, and I knew I had from October until April to catch up and train again. It was actually quite comfortable having a definite, not knowing who your matches were, but knowing you had to start training in January for a possible April match, knowing you'd have to be ready.
You had a schedule.
Yeah. Loose.
Yeah.
But you knew between April and September you better be on your shit. You can fuck off between October and March, but April to September you definitely had to be ready.
I just want to know this, and I'm asking as a fan because I was watching. You know, we talked about this, like Rustam and you pulling in Zloty Tour. And
he's a bad dude, man.
And I remember, like, he flash pinned you 6 times, and he didn't even go in a hook.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Like, because that's what everyone wanted.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Arsen did the same thing to me for years.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you with Rustam, if I could have gotten him in the straps, I would have felt good. But he was so straight up and polite, and I didn't want to just be rude about it towards the end. But Arsen was flash pinning me for years, and then when we were in Bulgaria, he had me 4-0, whatever it was. He won every one, and he voluntarily went into the straps.
Yeah.
And when he went into the straps, he pulled me off center, and his elbow came off. But I go, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
You know? There's something. Yeah, I go, oh, I wasn't like overwhelmed with him. You know, I go, all of a sudden he felt mortal, and I go, oh. So I always had that in the back of my head. You know.
Yeah, but Arsen's like explosive type pull, and we know Rustam can pull anywhere. You know. It was just sad for me, to be honest.
Me too.
Because me and Giannis were sitting there, and I turned to Giannis, it's 4-0. I'm like, they're going to go and hook right now. And it didn't.
Yeah. And he, and Rustam was another real short. I think I had 4 weeks to prepare for that. I think either Rustam was just scaring people or people were just dropping dead because when they finally called me, I said, really, me? And they said, I mean, they went like through 3 people before they got to me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, but Rustam's a bad dude. He's tough.
Would you want that rematch at some point?
Yeah, but my God, just cutting weight, you know. You get used to cutting weight when you make a living at it.
Yeah.
But boy, you take a couple of years off from it, and you just forget how just tough it is. You know, I mean, you can do it, but it changes your whole outlook.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a whole separate training. Like when you're a super heavyweight, you just train. Yeah. You don't worry about anything. You eat what you want, sleep what you want. But when you're in a class that you have to cut weight, even when you're not training, you're watching what you eat, you're weighing yourself all the time. I mean, it's a whole nother level of effort or stress you have to deal with. It's amazing how easily you get used to not doing that. It's like people who move from climates with winter to climates without. All of a sudden they go, oh, yeah, I don't miss shoveling my driveway, scraping my windows, heating up the car, all that extra stuff you have to do.
Yeah.
You get used to not doing it pretty quick.
Yeah. So, give me someone like who's on your bucket list to pull from the guys that you haven't pulled, or or that you think that you wanna.
I would like to pull. I would have answered this question the same 3 months ago.
Okay.
I would have liked to have pulled Jerry or Devin again, beat them, and then had a shot at Michael Todd. I'm not saying I'm going to pull Michael Todd because he just lost, which is what it sounds like. You know? But had you asked me a month ago, I would have told you the only thing I was actually trying for was to get into the top tier of the WAL super heavyweight, and then to have a title. I thought Michael Todd was going to have that WAL super heavyweight title for years. And he still has it, but I think if the WAL pulls a match together in 3 months, I think Devin's a hands-on favorite for it.
Have you pulled Krasi?
I pulled Krasi lots of times. I probably pulled.
I
pulled him in Moldova, and I pulled him in Bulgaria.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting because, again, as a fan, I just like you to go bone to bone.
I like Krasi because it's comfortable pulling him.
No, he sometimes top rolls, but he's like, no, we hook.
Yeah, well, I don't.
We men, we hook.
I'm always confident I'm going to win. Every time I faced him, I was pretty sure that it was either 50-50 or 60-40 on his side.
Yeah.
I was always worried about it, but I wasn't ever worried about him doing something weird. I wasn't expecting no king's move, no goofy. It was going to be something comfortable.
The interesting thing I wanted to say, I have so many things but we're just gonna catch up on some. You pulled with Jerry and you started top rolling because that was the best way.
Yeah,
that was the best way.
Yeah,
that was part of strategy, or that was just like, dude, because your style, you kind of dumping your pronator, and he just gets on top of it.
Yeah.
So hooking isn't really option.
If you're gonna hook him, you have to get it off go. Yeah, you can't hook him from the losing position.
You have to win the center.
Yeah, and I don't win the ready goes too often. So I'm always usually fighting from the losing side. And with him, he was pushing so hard to my side of the table.
Yeah.
I couldn't come in, so top rolling was a way to get. Yeah. I had to go backwards more on him. Yeah. He was forcing that.
That was interesting. So you still won that rematch as well.
Yeah, it was. I was scared and nervous about it at the beginning, but now that I felt all of them, I think they're better arm wrestlers than I am, but I don't think they're a whole lot stronger than I am. So once you're comfortable with your strength, you can. Okay, I just got to stay in position. I don't have to worry about the power's there if I can get to use it. Where when I first went in there, I was expecting just to get dumped on.
Yeah.
So no, it feels good. It feels good knowing that my power's competitive. There's a lot of geometry issues to solve.
That's true. Yeah. It's weird because they eliminated that one class in between that used to be there.
But I skipped over.
You skipped over it. Yeah, exactly. You skipped over the classes basically. Yeah.
And I was the only one who moved 2 weight classes.
I hope they pay you well. I hope they pay you well.
You would not be happy.
So
they pay as well as anybody else. I mean, as far as any other league I've played in, the WL has been very good to me. But no, it ain't. It ain't retiring early money. It ain't car payment money.
So this event is basically made by fans funding it, like the arm wrestling for the fans, and it's also East versus West. How do you feel about that? The whole.
I think it's clever. Yeah, I like it, and I like my side. Yeah, we got a lot of good guys on my side.
And I think we need test more. When you and John were constantly coming to Zloty tours, we know where the level is.
Yeah.
But for past at least 4 or 5 years, it's very hard to figure out where the top guys is. The same goes with everyone's asking me where do you rank RBJ? I don't know. It's very hard to know.
It's hard to know on him only because It is different. The
It
two
is different.
the two different styles are
Exact-
different.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Okay. About tomorrow, you.
What time is it
Already-
tomorrow?
So it will start 7:30.
Oh, I got a whole day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You can-
I might be 105 kilos by then.
You can take 2 naps.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you very much.